I want you to contextualize this video that has been circulating on the internet of you talking about the lover boy method. So we'll take a look at that right now.
Sure. You cannot get a girl to work for you having fun. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You f the girl. After you f the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy, you're always at work, you can come work for me.
Okay, so first question, when was this video taken?
So real quick, before I play the rest of the video, I just want to say that I am so glad that Candace Owens pressed him on this, because this is one of the videos that a lot of the Andrew Tate naysayers, they use this clip to say, see, here's the proof. He is a human trafficker because he's using the lover boy method. And if you watch the video, by definition, it seems like he's telling other men how to use the lover boy method. So this is very damning evidence. I would love to see how Andrew Tate responds to this.
Yeah, so this video is from 10 years ago, and this is me explaining how having a webcam company, it's actually a larger video as a whole. I'm explaining how having a webcam company can affect your relationships and how it affects your dating life. It also explains the fact that one of the girls I was dating at the time was working on webcam at the time. And it's explaining my general, overall, explains my life and how things are affected owning a pornography company, because obviously a lot of women will be put off by that. It doesn't explain, it doesn't say, I have to be very careful how I answer this question because I'm currently under an investigation, right? So I'd be very careful how I answer it. People are trying to chop it up and say that it says I am using the lover boy method to somehow convince women to do things they didn't want to do. This is obviously not the case, and none of this is in the case file for a reason, because it doesn't exist and none of these women are upset. But this is simply me explaining, it's actually a dating course I made a long time ago, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, to be honest with you, because it was 10 years ago and I was talking about women and dating and things in a way that I wouldn't talk about them anymore.
Right. So yeah, you look very young in the video.
I'm super young, and I'm talking about, hey, when you sleep with this girl, or you meet that girl, or you meet this girl on Instagram, and I have a webcam company, I don't tell them I have a webcam company, and I just think all that's kind of crass and it's below me, and I don't really like talking about it. And it's amazing how things change as you mature and you get older. But once again, I was a much younger man. I think if you were to take any 24-year-old and look at the stuff he puts on the internet, some of it's going to be stupid. And I think if you look at anybody who made things 10 years ago, some of it's going to be stupid. It's absolutely not really not criminal in any regard. There's nothing criminal about it. It has no bearing or any interest in the current case. But yeah, I was talking about how I don't mention I have a webcam business. The basic premise of the video was me explaining that I don't mention I have a webcam business ever, and that I'm Mr. Rich and I have this nice car and I go on dates with girls. And sometimes when I say I have a webcam business, some of them want money and they want to work for me. That's the basic premise of it.
Right. I'm glad to hear that you're not proud of the video.
And I'm glad that he said it was stupid, because that video just makes him look like a trash human being. And I don't care how big of an Andrew Tate fan that you are. The things that he said in that video are extremely harmful and toxic. There's no way around it. You can't defend that video. The only way you can defend that video is if you are a trash human being yourself. With that being said, this is a video that was shot 10 years ago, and it turns out it has nothing to do with his current case. And just because someone was a part of some shady shit 10 years ago doesn't mean that they're guilty of the stuff that happened 2 years ago. Now, it'd be one thing if 10 years ago he was charged and convicted, but he wasn't even charged for the stuff that happened back then. He wasn't charged, he wasn't convicted. This is all things that came up after he reached the peak of his fame. But based on the videos that I've seen from Andrew Tate over the past 2 or 3 years, he appears to be a very different person from who he was back then. And that's not really all that surprising, all right? I'm around the same age that Andrew Tate is right now. And I think about who I was 10 years ago. I was a completely different person. People mature, and I think something that has helped his growth is that he has recently become religious. I think right now he's doing the best thing he can do, and that's distance himself from those comments.
I think that that's one of those things where I say that people don't allow you to grow up from things that you've done or said in the past. And this is obviously when you were operating a webcam business, you're talking about.
And that's the whole thing about the human experience. We're supposed to grow, right? And we're supposed to make mistakes, and we're supposed to learn from them, and we're supposed to evolve as people. And I'm certainly not proud of the video. When I say I'm not sorry for what I've done, I don't mean it in a I would do the same things again. I don't mean it that way. I mean that at the time I was a lot less knowledgeable and I was younger and I made some mistakes. And just like I'm sure Jay-Z would never sell crack again.
Right.
Exactly the same reason I would never make a stupid video saying something so stupid again. I also could have never predicted the fact that I was going to become one of the most famous people on the planet.
Right.
I didn't see that coming. And if I did, I would have been a lot more careful with what I said and how I said it. And I do think that it's part of every person's journey to make some mistakes and learn from them and grow from them. And I kind of find it interesting that if I was a reformed drug addict, there'd be no problem. If I was a reformed murderer, there'd be no problem. If I was a mafia boss and I'd sit here and I'd killed 3 people and we were doing an interview and I was like, yeah, I used to kill people. I've done my time. I'm out of jail now. I get less flack than if I made a video talking about dating when I used to have a business that did webcam than I currently get, you know? So all I can do is understand that I was a younger man. I did the best I could at the time. And I was trying my very best to survive in a very harsh world. And I understand now that a lot of the way I said things, I certainly shouldn't have said them that way, but none of it is criminal.
Right. And it, again, has no bearing on your case today. But I want
There's literally no bearing. And it's conflation.
It's being circulated without, like, people think that video was shot last week.
Correct. And that's what's so good, because it's good to mention it, because people are trying to conflate them. Because in the current case against me, there's no case. Everybody understands there's no case. We're now in a situation where if the legal system's completely fair, then the case is over. So what they're trying to do is they're going to conflate with old videos of mine, and they're going to try and muddy the waters and gaslight. And I will say that I am unhappy those videos exist, and I will say I wish I never made them, but I won't say that I'm sorry, because at the time I did the best I knew how to do.
I think a lot of people are going to get upset at the fact that he refused to apologize, but he did say that he regretted it and he wished the videos don't exist. So you can tell there's some remorse there. But as he said, he doesn't feel sorry for what he did. He said at the time he was doing the best he could at the time. So, you know, I'm of the opinion that if you truly don't feel sorry, then don't apologize. But he will have to deal with the consequences of not apologizing, because I do think those kind of comments are pretty harmful. But I think if he's doing the best that he can to kind of fight against that kind of rhetoric, then I think that's good enough in my eyes. But I think he did bring up a good point about Jay-Z. Jay-Z admitted to selling drugs, but people accept the fact that he is now reformed. Why? Because we like Jay-Z. But if you don't like Andrew Tate and you think he's a misogynist, then you won't believe that he is now reformed or doesn't believe in the same things he once believed in 10 years ago. But I do think it's absolutely wild that you have huge influencers like Abba and Preach, Hassan Piker, Bruce Rivers, H3 Podcast, all using clips from 10 years ago that have nothing to do with the criminal case to say, oh, he's guilty. That's just crazy to me. Like, just imagine some money went missing and then someone pulls up a video from 10 years ago of you stealing from Walmart. And then they go, oh, well, you see, you must be guilty because in this video 10 years ago, you were stealing. So you must have stole this time. The legal system just doesn't work that way. Now, I don't know what the statute of limitations are in Romania, but if they were charging him for things he did 10 years ago, now we're having a completely different conversation. In that situation, you know what? You might have a case. He might be guilty. But we're not talking about Andrew Tate human trafficking women 10 years ago. We're talking about him doing that 2 years ago after he's made all his millions, makes way more money doing social media content. It just doesn't make sense. But even if we are talking about his webcam business from 10 years ago, he had 75 women working for him. And all we have is just 2 women from recent years saying that he's this terrible person. It just seems a little off to me. Look, I know we have to wait until all the evidence is presented, but based on all the evidence I've seen thus far, I'm going to go on a limb and say he's not guilty. And no, that doesn't mean that I condone any of his webcam stuff that he did 10 years ago, nor do I condone any of the things he said in that video. But if you have to use text messages and video clips from 10 years ago to convict a man of a crime he did 2 years ago, I have to believe that the prosecutors don't have a very strong case. But you guys let me know your opinions on it. Do you think Andrew Tate is guilty, or do you think he's innocent? And while you're at it, let me know which points you agreed with and which points you disagree with. Go ahead and put that all in the comment section below. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you got anything out this video, hit that like button. This is Agree to Disagree. I'm out.